Welcome, I'm Bill Wake. We're working on a program to help ourselves manage money from medium to long term. So think retirement planning. And we just finished revising some stuff to support relative amounts. So this stream is 50% of that stream, say. Now I want to go into some different area. It's the notion of variables, or I think I'm going to call them assumptions, but it's the idea that you could define something that says, the default return on investment is 6%, and then change it to 4% and see what happens. So test your assumptions. There's a phrase for that, but robustness testing, I guess. You might also have an assumption, I'm going to retire at age 70, or I'm going to die at age 92, or whatever your assumption is. But usually when you get a plan, there's a lot of variables, you're juggling lots of things to make it. And then you want to do this robustness analysis. What happens if, and try these things. So I want to design something that makes that process easier. And I think I'm going to do it somewhat in the scenario model. So I have an idea for a UI that looks something like this. It's going to be an assumptions window that pops up, kind of like the people window pops up, but I want it to stay down on the bottom half so you can see the effect on your graph on the top, and basically let you provide the name of something, average ROI, provide the range you want to let it run through, -5 to +10, and then the X in the middle represents the starting point. We might find better ways to do this, but in the sort of main view of this, you're going to have all these sliders, and you can flip them up and down. Actually editing them, I didn't have a good icon for it, so I used an old fountain pen, but you could click on this and it would bring up something that lets you set the name, the starting value, the minimum and maximum, maybe a rounding value, to the nearest one or to the nearest 100 or something. I think you're going to have several kinds of these. You're going to have some that are percents, and we're going to start there. But you'll have others that are ages or possibly years. I'm not sure what else might be a variable, but we'll look at that. And then my assumption is that we're going to define a new aspect that's for growth of an expense or an asset, growth of whatever money source we have. And we're going to let that be a drop down that reaches out to the list of assumptions. So the percent ones make sense for the growth rate. And so we'll do average ROI. We'll have a drop down with average ROI and inflation in this example. And you can pick which one makes the most sense for you. I'm not going to tackle the death one just yet, but I think we kind of know how to do it. We have age based on birthdays, we have years, we have age. we can define a reference to a date that is the death date at some point, but that's a future story. All right. Let's just run tests. I just have the to do in the keynote. That's okay. All right, and really we don't need any of these because this is going to be kind of a new thing. I don't think it'll hurt to check these in while that's running. Okay, everything's green. All right, and then let's run. I guess Leonnode's type. That stuff's back to the amounts, but this is just call it assumptions. And let's start from a UI. My notion is we'll have a button here that says assumptions. You'll click on that. It'll bring up all your existing assumptions and the ability to add some. So we'll start with that, and then that'll require an add screen, and it'll require the view display of this thing. we don't have those objects in place. So I think we'll just get the bare minimum for now, and then fill in the objects, and then link it all up. All right. So basic UI for viewing and viewing assumptions. UI for editing assumptions. Create a percent assumption. Add create a client of assumptions, e.g. growth. Not froth, but growth. Okay. And we'll start with our top level view, which is that plan view? No. Plan list view? Nope. All right, let's start with our app. Content view, okay. Usually I rename that. Well, maybe not usually, but I always think I'm going to. Okay, so we don't have this button. Wow, that's all, what do they call that style thing you put on buttons? It's not, is it just button style? I wanted to find my own. Okay. Let's repair that, refactor it a little before we rely on it too much. Define button style. Good old hacking with Swift. Yeah, this is what I want. Just make a button style and do button style on it. Okay, that's not too bad. I don't know what kind of button we would call, style we would call this. Well, I can call it my button style. I don't know. Maybe it's a capsule button style. Okay. Oops. All right, it's just a button style with make body. Okay. We'll just steal it and replace. Make body configuration. Padding color, foreground style. Okay. I don't know what dot label's doing there. Let's see if it likes this. Okay. Cannot find capsule button style. Well, there's a reason for that. Is label the font size? I don't know. Let's see if we can. I think maybe it's just pulling out that piece of the button. A view that describes the effect of pressing the button. I don't know what else you would talk about. Well, the label's one view. Okay, yeah. A value of nil. I guess that's just gets us access to the label part of the button. Uh-oh. Are we jammed up somewhere? Wow. Let me put this back. Oh. Dot button style. Interesting. I'm surprised that would compile. There we go. Okay, this still looks good. All right. Now I feel better. Oh, yeah, I feel better. Do I feel better? Yes, I do. Okay. I guess the button, we'll just put another button and another spacer. And this one is going to be assumptions. We need some more state. Now this won't do anything just yet. Well, that's not what I wanted. Try that. Okay, that's more like it. That does nothing, doesn't even blink. Okay. Now, the actual showing is dealt with down here. Is presented is showing assumptions. Okay, which doesn't exist. Okay, and let's get to our people view. Well, let's sort this a little. So we'll need I would have said we needed a reference to the dismiss action, but apparently not. Okay, so what do we have here? Header. Oh, well, that's kind of nice. Okay. We'll just bring it in with the hello world view just so we can see. Okay. But I think something something like this all actually makes sense to me. I don't know if there's a good way to genericize that. Okay, but we'll steal this and modify it. Okay, so assumptions, that's going to be a good one. What icon do we have? I mean, we got a delta kind of thing, so that's not brick, pyramid, maybe. That's a little bit like I want. It doesn't look like the arrow too much. Okay, yeah, let's use that. It's showing create view. Image label plus, yes. And then we want edit assumptions. Well, we'll leave that out for now. I don't want to go that far. We'll just put, I don't know, can I just put a text, create an assumption? And then the header, we use it as a section. All right, and then in here, we're going to run over our assumptions and do some stuff, but I think we'll just put an empty thing for now. Okay, that should be at least a little interesting. Preview, assumptions view. Okay, assumptions. No assumptions yet. And this brings up that. Okay. Yeah, I think that's a start. Okay. Now, the sort of bad thing is the assumptions I want to do are around growth percent rates, and that's not a feature we have yet. So, sorry. I bumped something earlier. Okay. We don't have anything that relies on that yet. So really, I'd like to say, I'd like to have another field in here that's like the growth rate, and then a drop down that takes those assumptions. So it's basically two different features, but this is the use of that. I'm trying to think if there's another use that's simpler. Well, I don't think this one's impossibly hard. It's just not anything we can do yet. All right. So that's our beginning UI. Okay, now let's do some TDD. All right. So I guess we know we have assumptions, which is a list of assumption. We haven't said what those are yet. I'm not 100% sure, but let's start. Well, they're data bag kind of things, right? I mean, if I go back here, the assumption is the name, the min, the max, the initial, or maybe the current value. And this editing thing, I don't think there's anything there to test, really, right? I mean, it's yeah. I'm not sure I want to test like putting in -5 for this field gives you -5. You know, it's kind of boring. Okay, and then assumptions. Well, that's a lot like people. So people, yeah, he's a model. Well, he's observable. Why is he not a model? Okay, but the core of it is this. Okay. Changed. Well, that's going to be quite similar. I guess model is Swift data. Observable is for the new Swift UI observability stuff. Okay. Right. So let's just define these. Okay. And I kind of want to make this, well, I kind of want to do the right thing from the start. Let's make it an enum assumption, because I think there are different kinds, and we're going to put them all in the big list. All right, our initial case is a %. And he's got a name and a min is a double, current is double, and max is a double. Okay, and then assumptions. All right, and this is, well, he's going to be a lot like people. He's going to be observable in public class. We haven't worried about persistence yet, but we'll have to eventually. That's in foundation, right? No, I don't think. I don't know if we need was changed just yet. Okay, but we'll need the equivalent of this. And this is assumptions of assumption. And let's make this assumptions has no initializers. Oh yeah, I gotta be careful on this stuff. Public, assumptions has no initializers. Okay. Well, just for now, I'm going to make it assumption of ROI 0, 8, 15. Okay. Now, assumptions view should be looking at assumptions. Now, where do people get his thing? I think we passed it in. Sorry, people view. Environment. Yeah, we'll want to do the same thing. Well, it won't be people, but okay. And our app. Okay, we don't do open yet. I don't think we have anything too, well, nothing will display that, so get this on. We're going to blow up instead. Okay. No observable of type assumptions was found. Oh, I got to put it in my environment. Okay, no assumptions yet. Okay. Let's make it display those assumptions. Okay, and again, I'm going to go to people view. We're going to walk through all the assumptions. I don't know the right way to organize them yet. Well, Wish I had a better word for assumption, that's for sure. Okay, cannot find assumptions. Oh. Probably shouldn't be mutilating this file anyway. Data, content escaping, yeah. Okay, for each requires random access. Well, we did that on the other one too. Okay, let's just put text, assumption.name, get some out there. Okay, so we had to make people conform to sequence. Right. Providing make iterator. Okay. All right. Is that going to work? No. For each assumptions, value of type assumptions to expected type binding of C. Oh. Does that not do that? Isn't that what we did up here? Environment people. For each people dot sorted, but sorted just returns array. Cannot convert to value of binding. I don't know why that helps. No, I guess it's just returning. Yeah, I guess that's no worse. I mean, it's reasonable enough for us to do this. Interesting. Okay. That's still unhappy. Oh, dot sorted. Okay. assumption conforms to identifiable. Do people conform to identifiable? Oh, assumption, yeah. If I can believe person does. There's a way to do this. I think we've done it. Well, that's not quite as safe. So that would say that the simple type. Ooh. Okay. Oh, but I can't get them. Maybe assumption is a struct plus assumption data or something, because it needs the name, which should be unique. Okay, we can do this. Public var ID of string return name. Is that gonna work? Okay. It's just how much do we have to fight for that? Well, that was easy. Okay. All right. There's assumptions. I don't know. I think even on the other one, that might look better as just a real title, kind of like the net worth, and not put it in the form like that. But it's a start. Okay. So I think. Well, let's commit this. Maybe we're getting complex enough. We've got to do some testing. I don't know. Assumptions, assumption, and update use. I mean, really, that should be empty. Well, that's enough to make progress on the UI again. Maybe I'll switch gears. So, assumptions view. Well, we don't want just the text. We really want an assumption view, and it's going to have the text and then the slider and then maybe some sort of name and some buttons. The next thing is we don't have an ability to create one, but maybe we just need to view it for now. The thing is, I want those editable. I don't know if that's going to be. Well, again, I'm going to go back to people view. I mean, people. Well, no, it's not the same situation. Yes, you can edit the list by adding a person, but I don't know what happens. Okay, I don't know that I've done quite this sort of thing before. All right, well, let's just dive in. All right, so assumption view does not exist. All right, so let's add that. New file. Assumption view. Okay. Well, I'm going to give him the assumption. This is going to have to be a binding, I think. Let's just get where we were. It doesn't really need to be state yet. Yeah, I still got it messed up. Yeah, so we've got to at least have a binding. Okay, well, we're back where we were. All right. So let's make this dollar assumption. And this is at binding. And then this one. Oh. Did I not call assumption view? No. I'm on the wrong one. Assumption view. Dollar. Property type is not assumptions dot sorted gives array of assumption. So does that need to be an array of bindings? Public var assumptions. It would seem like this is the thing that gets the binding. I mean, people view. We have in people. When does, okay, here's people dot replace. That's the existing one. I'm not sure why I'm finding this so hard. Okay, go back to the view. Okay, so we can't get to bindings to these things because we don't have that. Only if it's in the array, right? But if they were assumptions, I mean, if they were bindings to assumptions, we could modify them and that'd be fine. Inferred projection type cannot convert to binding. All right, so does, I don't know if just working backwards is going to quite do it. Assumptions. Is this binding of assumption? Well, that can't be right. Again, I mean, I go back to this. We said edit view with this person. He's got an action. I guess the action is we give you back the person that we edited. Well, maybe I'll try and put the slider on and see what happens. I don't know. I think I'm... All right, so let's let this be an H stack. Slider value in on editing changed. Closed range. Okay. I mean, I would like... Well, let me just make this state. Var value of double start there, I guess. Okay, so we're going to slide on value, but that can't quite be right. In value in on editing changed. In is closed range. Okay. Assumption dot min assumption dot max those don't exist. Insert dollar sign. I don't know where that's going. Okay, but assumptions ought to have. Yeah, I just don't know. Okay. Yeah, that's all messed up. Max is a kid. Okay, I'll take those off for now. I think we'll just get the slider sliding and then deal with it. Do you need the dollar sign on the first assumption in the for each? I thought it only needed to be a binding when passed to the view. Well, I mean, I think eventually I want these. Yeah, I removed it, but I mean, these things should be editable, right? I mean, that's the goal of the slider is to edit those things. So somehow I think this should be a dollar sign. I think it has to go here to reflect that. I don't want these to have to return bindings though in our sorted because it just doesn't seem like it's. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like things get done that way. But maybe the people view doesn't, right? Because we edit the view, but in the end we call the callback routine, and maybe that's what we'll do too, something like that. But it's a little weird. Okay, but I think if I can get the slider sliding, that's something, and then we'll deal with the rest. Okay. That seems weird. No, that can't even be right. That's supposed to be on editing changed. I must be triggering some other Yeah, maybe it thought I wanted a label or something. Okay. Think I'm there. Yeah, fine. All right. Now, with luck, this is modifying. Yeah, I'm getting some values. Not a lot, huh? It's not doing it while I slide, only when I've finished. Sorry, when I start and when I finish. Huh. Okay. That's something. I mean, this is ugly to what I want, but I'd like to see that value put somewhere. Right. Okay. Now. What's Unchanged going to do? I was thinking I'd put an action kind of like I did on the people view that took the value it gets back and then regenerates the replaces that assumption with this one. This can be improved. I don't know if I need the 88 decimal points places either. So again, up here, it just gets the new somewhere. Am I in the wrong one? Oh, edit person view. Yeah, I don't think do I want continuous values? I guess we do. I see what you're saying. Okay. So like here. Do I have to assign the value? Value changes. See what I'm up against here. Okay, yeah, so that's changing that, but the value is changing as I drag. Okay. Huh. Okay. And then the other thing I want to do is I'd like to round that value. Do I do it here? Well, oddly, that's not working. Isn't that weird? Or am I changing it while I'm changing it and screwing it up? Okay. Yeah, I don't want circular. Is there something on slider that will do this? Oh, that's what I want. Incremental values. Step 5. Can I say step 1? Oops, don't want that. Yeah. Okay. I think for my purposes, I want to force that. For 1 decimal. Yeah. I don't think I want to make 1 decimal. I think I want it like this. All right. And then that's okay. I don't even have to do anything in here, right? I mean, this is just, that just enforces it. This is the end of the result. And I think I want to call my action then. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So, all right, yeah. So I think what I'll see is the action is called, right? So I should get 0, 6, yep. And then I'll get 6, 10. All right, and then this is the moment I want to do something with it. I think what I want to do is you've changed the assumption. I kind of want that to change up here. Kind of like this edit assumptions. I want to replace that value. And then this text on assumption view, I'm going to change this to value. I'm going to make it int of value. Can I do that for conversion? That might argue against making these things be doubles. Okay, that's the kind of thing I want. Right. I don't know how much to get. Like, I'd like this to get, a third of the space and then have a little room for the number. And then, can I make the assumption a binding in the edit view? I think I can. Well, I don't know. We haven't dealt with the edit view yet. So what happens here, because person is a struct, so there's no editing that thing. You're getting a new one back, and we just add it to the list. Sorry, this is create. Where's the edit? Well, let's go to people view. Okay, here's the edit person, but it's doing the similar kind of thing. It replaces that person because it's just brand new. So I think my assumption view should do the same thing. Provide an action. You should pass in an action to do something, and what we do is the caller will update that value based on what he gets. Okay, so action person to void is really assumption to void. Okay, and then on editing changed, that's when they've really done something. Yeah, the enum's immutable too. Action of value. Oh, and this value is a double. Is that good? Well, it puts it on the collar. Assumption view. Value in do nothing is a valid one. Okay, so I'm pushing it up here to say this assumption changed. And I think at this point I should do my replace on assumptions. I should probably delete the old one and add the new one because well, no, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure if I should pass back the assumption or the value to be consistent across them. Okay. Well, I guess the one thing I know is I'd like this value to be in front of the slider. I'm not sure that's helpful like that, but okay. I think I'd be better off making these. Yeah, I maybe should just return a new assumption. I don't know, this assumption that it's a double just doesn't seem to hold well either. No. Yeah, I don't have a facility for that. I mean, in effect, I could do a replace because I'm going to have the same name. Yeah, I'm getting buried here. Okay, so I think. Well, this gives me what I want in terms of the slider running, right? Take what I can get here, I think, for now. Okay, and that updates. That's good. I'd like it better looking, but I don't know. That colon maybe belongs on the. Yeah, I don't know. I'll let that go. What would be good? Well, one thing is, I think these percents. Maybe this enum is not the right thing. What if I made these ints? Would I be happier? It would certainly save me fooling around with the value in here. Step one. Let me try that. I think that's actually kind of reasonable for us. And maybe I'm doing early optimization here, but I just hate to have to redo hate the idea of redoing turning this into an enum after it's a struct, but maybe that just means we don't do persistence until we get far enough. Okay, so now I'm going to make this, I'm going to rework this. Kind of a giant refactoring, I guess. Var id of id equals UUID blank. Okay, so we'll set that. We'll lose this. If they're numeric, they probably all just work like this, and I don't have to worry about type, except I think I do have to say it's a percent. Yeah, maybe it is just a little type code. Okay, now if I have these coming in, does that break assumptions? I don't, okay. Do I have to say them all? Yeah. He'll do it for me, won't he? Almost. Oh. Okay, I'm not going to do the id. Do I put the current? I guess I need the current. Okay. I don't know why that didn't show 8 before. I must be doing something wrong. Okay, so assumption view. I'm going to change these to int. This is already an int. I'm not 100% sure. I thought you could do ints. type percent. Why are you hung up on that? Let's do build. Requires int string conform to binary floating point. Really? This has closed range of V. Yeah, closed range of V. So have I left a double in somewhere? Assumption has no member. Oh. I almost wonder if that should go in the end. Kind of the most varying thing goes last kind of idea. Requires that int.stride. Maybe I can't do step. Oh, really? How weird. In on requires int.stride int initializer. Why make it a generic range? Yeah, maybe you're right. But I'm puzzled why, why this closed range can't be, like, why is it a V instead of just a double if it only wants a double? You can create a closed range with the closed range operator, yes, which is fine with ints. Huh. 1. V has got to be binary floating point. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Ugh. Still not quite what I want, but all right. If this could be a double. Always a bad sign when it takes so long. Closure end should have the same indentation as the line that got 4, 6, 8. That looks okay. No, I think that's just whining. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Okay. I don't know how to say this. To work with ints, even though value must be double. Okay. I think that represents everything. Okay. All right. Well, looks like a good time for a break. So let's take a break. We'll come back, get this going. Get it handling the edit change. Decide if we want an assumption to come back or just the value, the int value. And I think that'll get us a bit further. All right. See you in a few minutes. Welcome back. All right. I think assumption is pretty simple at this point. It really is just a data bag at this point. I guess I should move that down. All right, and then assumptions. Well, we have this one. Let's get this. Let's get this editing thing pushed through the rest of the way first. Okay, so assumption view calls action. I'd say it probably should return. It probably should return an assumption. Okay, so this is really assumption with current value updated. So let's make an init from assumption and new current of int. Okay, so I don't think we really need this part in here because we defaulted there. Okay. Cannot convert value of type double. Ugh. All right, and now the caller. Well, the caller isn't doing anything at this point. All right. Assumption view. Okay. He gets new, well, revised assumption. And he should do something. Okay. Well, I guess what he needs to do is assumptions.replace. So let's, at last we have something complicated enough to test. We probably could have done one sooner somewhere, but let's test new file. The assumptions. Okay, I don't bother naming them. This is the assumptions replaces an assumption. I believe it will be by their name. That if you replace, if you reuse a name, you're redefining the assumption. Is my assumption. Maybe. I mean, the reason the ID is there is because of identifiable, really. But I'm open to being talked out of a poor decision. Let's see. Okay, so we created assumptions. Let's put in, well, this kind of gets at everything, doesn't it? We should be able to add an assumption. Yeah. And I think I think it wants a new UUID. Well, I was going to say the UI stuff would be happier with it, but I don't. It's mostly caring about changes, but but this makes it very clear it's different. Okay, so assumptions.add. Well, we're going to add an assumption with all this stuff in it. Percent type dot percent name 1 min 1 max 10 current 5. Okay. Maybe I should start with add. And I'm going to assume a find. We probably need it. Okay, what's the matter? Okay, good. We expect assumptions dot find of the 1 dot name is the 1. Okay, I think that's enough to convince me it's there. Okay, so assumptions. And we need an add. That word is long. Oh, I always forget that word. And the test should fail. It should blow up because find returns junk, nil. Find some assumption. Cannot find assumptions view in scope. Assumptions views in Fiume. Where it should be. Oh, did I get these other guys in the Fiume model? That. Okay, let's. Okay, try that again. Oh, they need to import the model now. sorted on sequence. I don't think that should be on sequence. It's just a defined function there. Can I find type? I don't know if this is required at this point. I think it's confusing it. No. Oh, it's required for that. Huh. Assumptions, that's sorted. Let's see if that does it. Might be able to delete this. All this is to get a failing test. The assumptions. Okay, good. Okay, we'll add it. Assumptions. And then find. Is there just a find? Append. Make that mistake all the time too. Okay, so we added add and find to assumptions. All right, and then our next test is the one that's going to have the replace. Okay, so we'll add this. We will replace new assumption. Expressions find the one dot current seven. Okay, actually, I think new assumption, I think I could just say assumption with assumption and value of 7. We don't have replace, cannot find assumption in scope. We don't have replace. Okay, good. No, I think there's just a replace. Do we use replace? Oh, we just did a remove and add. Okay. Well, that's going to be just about right. Is it dot name? Where did I add that? Okay. Okay. I think we're ready to replace the thing in the view now. Okay, so we had the revised assumption. Boy, maybe the it is the thing to use. At any rate, we're going to say assumptions dot replace revised assumption. I expect this handles. Oh, golly. It does not. What is going wrong? I can't drag. Okay. Let's take this out. Try again. What? Because every change replaces the assumption. Well, I don't know. I mean, every change should be able to replace it. That's kind of what the goal is. Now, maybe we don't. Well, it may be back to why does people have a was changed is because we got to track that adding and removing. So something needs to trigger the observable. We haven't really changed the array per se, I think. All right, I guess I'd like to stop here. Okay. Should have one in there. Current 5. That's also something funny. The editor doesn't get the updated assumption. Well, let's see what revised is. Eight. Okay, so, current is 0. So he does claim to change it. I wonder if we're just not far enough along. Well, no, we're far enough to get here, so that thing should be set. Okay, let's step into action. What? Out of that one into this one. Okay. Well, this 00 is suspicious. because he really should be current. Move the cloning of the assumption out of the view. Well, no, this is a closure being executed, so he's not really in the view per se. I mean, he gets the assumption. Well, on editing changed, I think he shouldn't have a problem. That's static within this view, right? And the action is being called. I don't know. My suspicion is around this. Let me try defining an init. Okay, self.value equals. That's going to come from assumption. I thought I had to do something fancier for this. Right. Oh. I don't know if that's going to help. Also, I want to see what that on editing changed thing really says. Bool. When editing begins and ends. Okay, that's better. Is it that assumptions? I don't really know if he's treated as, I guess he's state, right? He's at the top level as state. So why are you unhappy? Okay, so let's look at assumptions. It should be our ROI, current value 5. Okay, now revised assumption, I think is still going to be 5 because it didn't drag anywhere. Yeah, so he's getting called. I don't know if this one is being called before. No. I don't know if it was being called before I touched the thumb, but even so, that doesn't seem helpful. Okay, let's go here. We'll continue. Okay, so print assumptions has name ROI. Print assumption. Does replace force a re-render? It should. Well, that's what I don't know. We have that was changed in the other case. Okay. I mean, this is sort of the same thing. Wow. I said step and he jumps out. Oh, there he is. Okay. Print assumptions should be empty now. Okay. Step. Now he should have one value in him. Okay. I'll continue. Oh, is it that it doesn't change? Because the way we call it on editing changed, right? It calls the beginning and end of the editing process. So when it first calls, there's no change. Now it appears I don't seem to be triggering that. Well, there it is. Okay. But the value hasn't changed. Okay. Does value state change? You're talking in here, right? I mean, if it's calling this, it must. But okay, let's deal with this. Print value equals value. I don't know. I get the feeling it's not changing anymore. Oh, it's not changing anymore. In fact, so weird. They don't tell you what this Boolean does on editing changed. Calls on editing changed. I don't know, is true and false. That's really weird. Is it not returning from this? But that action is so simple. It's calling assumptions.replace. Is it re-rendering every time it replaces it with itself? We know assumption. Yeah, we have assumption. What if I only change it when it really has changed? So I was thinking it maybe got an infinite loop. Okay, yeah. So I think what happened was when I marked it editing changed, it goes and it changes this and changes that and redraws and it marks it on editing changed and goes back around, I think. Okay, that's updating now. All right, cool. And then isn't there a version that doesn't take anything? Let's try that one. Oh. Okay. Now, I guess when I come back in, it should still be 6. All right. I think that means it changed because that redraws, or it should. Okay. So make assumption view notify of change only when value actually changes. Funny I have to do that, but okay. Now, what? The other thing that's funny to me is we can't really. I don't know if we can really tell if it updated. Yeah, I think it is, but the thing it does is it when you first touch the slider to move, or maybe it's when you start moving, it calls on it changed, and then when you land, it calls on it changed, and then we added the on change that does the intermediate steps. But I think what was happening was when you first touched it, or maybe when you first started to move it, it triggered on it changed, which changed the value, which forces a redraw, but it's the same value. I don't know if I'm right on this or not. How could we tell? Yeah, I believe it forces a redraw because the the list of assumptions has one with a totally new ID, so it should see that change and say, "Oh, I need to redraw it." And yeah, maybe you lose focus. I'm not sure what the trigger would be, but I don't have access to that original assumption anymore. It's gone by now, I think. We'll have to keep an eye open if there's some other weird behavior that seems tied into that. But I think the fact that it was trying to change when there was no change and replacing it before it got done meant there was no benefit and just kind of recursively stuck. I'm not sure it was recursive. I don't know if you were stuck because it was redrawing, or just because you're trying to drag a slider for an object that doesn't exist anymore, or yeah, doesn't get used anymore, or isn't reflected on the screen anymore. Maybe more accurately. All right. Well, I think that gives us the first step on this. We'll put an edit button. Yeah, I guess I want a delete button and an edit button and a new entry. So we'll steal those two because people view is like that. I don't know if it's similar enough to really totally take it, but it's certainly got the right kind of buttons. Okay, so I think that's on the person view actually. Oh, no, I guess not. Okay, there's this one. Assumptions view. No, assumption view. Okay, we got the slider. Let's put another spacer. Okay, action. Well, again, I don't think that's this thing's job to do that here. Whoops. Let's rename this to change action. Maybe update action. Should the delete button be in the list? I think it should. So when you're drawing this stuff, you could decide I don't want to have an ROI anymore. This is the only list you'll see of all the assumptions. So I think it should be here, and you could create a new one if you wanted to, but that should delete it and then edit if I want to change the bounds, say, or the name. So I think that's going to be a little funny. Okay, but this is going to be a delete action. He didn't rename it there. Update action. And then I want to rename it here. Will you let me? Yeah, no, that's not the real thing. Come on. Ugh. Oh, I updated the wrong one. There should be update action. I think I should have made this be self-did action equals update action. Yeah. Oh no, that was okay. Okay. It will not help me. Okay. I could have sworn that was working the other day. I was so happy. All right. Let the compiler tell me. Yeah, so I just put the trash can in with no correct actions. Now, wait a minute. Somebody calls this. Oh, it was implicit. Okay, interesting. Okay, so now I want to delete action. And I guess that's just going to take a string. Oh, well, I've screwed it up, haven't I? This was assumption goes to void. Surprised he's not complaining about the line length. Assigning non-escaping parameter. I always forget where those go. Is it in front? Backward matching of the unlabeled trailing closure. Yeah, I don't know where I lost it. Okay, but at any rate, I should be able to say delete action of assumption.name. Okay, so I should have the trash can there. Right. And then this calls, but nobody passes anything, so it doesn't do anything. Blinked. Okay. Now, what's my formatting stuff? Closure expression should have a single space inside each brace. Is that all he's on about? Yeah. Okay, I think that built okay. All right. So we added delete button to assumption view. Not active yet. Now I think we already have our remove, right? Did we call it? Yeah, remove name. Okay, so we should be able to do that. All right, so assumption view, no, assumptions view. I think I can call this two ways. This is like updated action colon. Delete action. For each, no. Is that it? Well, I know I can do this. Get complaints all day about formatting. Cannot find assumption. That assumption view. It seems like that should be unindented slightly. Yeah. I thought there was a way to use these outside the braces, but I must have the syntax a little wrong if it's true. Okay. So at any rate, now I hope it's going to delete. So assumptions, let's make sure it updates still. Good. And delete, and it's gone. Okay, so we can't create them, but we can delete them. And we can edit the field value, but we can't change the name or the boundaries or anything like that. Okay, it's a good place to stop. Let's see, let's update our to-do list. Okay, viewing assumptions, yes, I think we've done that. We did UI for deleting assumptions, and we did UI to update when changing slider on assumptions. Okay, I think that's the three things. So we don't have, well, I guess this one is UI to create. Today was 44. And create assumption and assumptions objects. Okay. All right. Well, we've made a start. I think we're a little better than we were when we started the day. The enum was a dead end, but we've got the enum type for this to give us a little room for things. We're not quite, well, we can't create or edit them. So we'll pick up there tomorrow to do that. And I think once we have that, we've got the basics of the assumptions down on our side. Nothing's using them yet, and we'll have to work on that afterwards. All right. Well, thanks for joining today. Next time is 2 to 4:30 tomorrow, Wednesday, or Eastern time, or 6 to 8:30 p.m. UTC. And have a good evening. Good night.